अगस्ता वेस्टलैंड चॉपर डील पर राज्य सभा में जमकर हंगामा हुआ। कांग्रेस जहां इस डील पर फंसने के बाद खुद को बचाने में लगी थी, तो वहीं बीजेपी के सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी एक एक कर कांग्रेस की कलई और यूपीए सरकार में किए हुए डील की परतें खोलने में लगे थे। पहले आपको कांग्रेस की ओर से पूर्व रक्षा मंत्री ए के एंटनी ने जो कुछ कहा, इस डील को लेकर उसका अंश सुनाते हैं।
Then principal secretary of the Prime Minister. I don't blame him. But the decision to change the height was taken by then PMO, then government. From 6,000, I will place it here, all these things. From 6,000 to 4,000, it was taken at that time. And one more thing, it was taken at that time. The high-flying ceiling of 6,000 meters and the cabinet height of 1.8 meters could be made desirable operational requirements. So 1.8 also was at that time. This is not an off-the-cuff remark. This is an official release of the Ministry of Defence. It is an official release of the Ministry of Defence, February 14, 2003. So height was reduced from 6,000 to 4,500, and cabinet height was decided. Cabinet height was decided 1.8 meters. So all these major decisions were taken at that time, 2003, by your government. This is a fact. This is not a press statement. This is an official release, official document of the Ministry of Defence in February 14, 2013. I'm telling you this document. The statement 2013, the decision, I'm quoting the decision 2003.
Read this para 3.
On para 3, on November 19, 2003,
I said.
a meeting was taken by then Principal Secretary. In that meeting, it was decided height reduced from 6,000 to 4,500, cabin height 1.8 meters.
Yes, that is.
It is by your government. Don't accuse us. I don't blame them also. I am not saying anything that they have done this or that. But the decision was taken by you.
एंटनी ने जो सवाल सरकार पर दागे थे, उसका जवाब देने के लिए सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी ने मोर्चा संभाला और स्वामी ने एक एक कर ऐसे फैक्ट्स रखे जिसका जवाब ए के एंटनी कांग्रेस या यूपीए सरकार के पास भी नहीं था। और स्वामी ने एंटनी की कही हुई बातों को ही सदन में कोट करते हुए कांग्रेस को पटखनी दे दी।
They filed the question as unstarred question number 654, answered on 11/12/2013 by the honourable member here, a former defence minister. The question asked was whether Indian Air Force in January 2004 had emphasized that the altitude requirement of VVIP helicopters be kept at 6,000 meters as an inescapable necessity, and if so, the details thereof. And Mr. Antony replies, yes, sir. However, in the contract signed with AgustaWestland on February 8, 2010 for procurement of 12 VVIP helicopters, the technical requirements specified in the request for proposal that was issued on 27th September 2006 were formulated after detailed discussion amongst all stakeholders and per stipulated guidelines. It's now an admitted fact that the people who lowered the height was not the NDA as they made the allegation. It's a question, answer to a question. What is it that you want to know? 2004, the Air Force has taken a stand. It is an inescapable necessity. 6,000 meters. And he had, Mr. Antony says, yes, that is what the Air Force had said. But because of 2006, September 27th RFP, we changed it after due consultation. Whether they did it for meritorious reason or another matter. But the fact is that it is a lie to say that the NDA government was the one that changed the specification of the height. Now we come to the what? A lie, yes. So, terminological inexactitude. That's the correct parliament word. Now I come to the second question. Here and there they have said, but they didn't say it here, but I think I should reply, that many state governments of the NDA purchased this aircraft, that is a helicopter. Well, when you fly helicopters in Chhattisgarh or you fly it in Maharashtra, there is no problem of shoulder rockets and an enemy across the border. And therefore, it is its ability not to be able to fly above 4,500 is not a constraint. So there was no blacklisting. The blacklisting is now being initiated, and you have a motion for breach of privilege of the leader of the opposition, who claimed that his government had blacklisted and we had withdrawn it. It is absolutely untrue. I've given you documentation. You will, I'm sure, very expeditiously decide on this issue. But the fact of the matter is that state governments purchasing, there was no blacklisting. There was no ban in purchasing it. As far as the questions come, the issue will arise that some bribe was given. Those people who gave the bribes are now in jail. And therefore, whether we should give up our right to receive the spares and other things that we bought. And therefore, the process has to go now after the High Court judgment. The process of banning the company is being worked out. I'm sure the Defence Minister, if he had been given the chance to say everything in the very beginning, much of the debate would have been much more enlightened. Now, what had happened was, at the NDA period, that after these strict restrictions, only one helicopter survived. That was the Euro helicopter number 225 became eligible. The NDA took the point that if it's a single vendor, then there will be questions raised. So let's see whether within the framework we can work out in such a way that more vendors can be brought in. They also, the NDA government noted that the SPG had not been consulted. After all, this helicopter was for the VVIPs, so SPG should be consulted. And so therefore, with these two additional points, that see if you can have more than one vendor, and have the SPG consulted, all that the NDA had said. And nothing else was there. There were no directions on changing any other restrictions. Now what happened? Once the questions, once the UPA came to power, there were a lot of changes that were brought in. UPA took office in 2004, and the Ministry of Defence went beyond these two aims. That is, try and get more than one vendor, and two, see that the SPG is consulted. Well, certainly the SPG was consulted, but now they added additional parameters, which ultimately made it clear that only one aircraft, one helicopter would qualify, and that is the AgustaWestland. This is described in great detail, which I'm not going to read, in the CAG report laid in the House, on the table of this House. All these are there. But some of them I will bring out because they are stark. And it shows that there was a mens rea, so to speak, an intention to create a situation where you only buy AgustaWestland. One change of parameter was clearly nullified. Every helicopter except one helicopter, has this, what is called as the cabin height of 1.45 meters or less. क्यों?